Once in a generation, the center of gravity in financial markets move. Quietly, almost without anyone noticing, it moved to Solana. In financial markets, returns are the truth. And the truth is that Solana is now producing more real, verifiable economic returns than any other chain in crypto. My name is Ben Nadareski. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Solstice, the largest Solana-born and Solana-native stablecoin in the world, offering one-click access to institutional-grade yields. Solstice, along with all the incredible companies here today, are evolving at light speed in delivering the next generation of internet capital markets. And today I'm here to showcase the state of returns across the Solana ecosystem. We can look at the state of returns in Solana in a three-stage evolution. From 2020 to 2022, returns on Solana were driven by subsidies, not systems. Users were chasing token emissions, not market structure. And returns were externally funded, not earned. Capital was shallow but hyper-mobile, responding instantly to incentive changes, resulting in massive TVL spikes. Users bridged capital from other L1s into Solana to chase APY differentials. Yield behavior showed rotational opportunism rather than chain loyalty. From 2022 to 2025, Solana purged the free money psychology and recentered on durability. Capital began rotating towards protocols with real revenue, audited risk frameworks, and transparency. Liquid staking became the first credible chain-wide passive yield source with 7 to 8% base yield plus an MEV uplift. Jito introduced MEV sharing, pushing LST yields into the 8 to 10% zone with transparency. MSOL, JitoSol, BSOL, and later LST derivatives became the foundation for loops, structured products, and synthetics. Yield vaults evolved from farming into structured strategies. Camino pioneered risk-rated disclosure-oriented vaults that removed guesswork from leveraged loops. Yield became programmable, audited, repeatable. Stablecoin death turned into the true cost of capital advantage, deepening curve-like dynamics into tighter spreads, lower vol, and cheaper leverage. Institutional capital shifted from observation to allocation, and this was the period where the industry began recognizing Solana as a return machine. Users no longer looked for yield in protocols. They looked for yield through Solana's return architecture. Now, bringing us to the present in 2025, Solana's ecosystem is defining institutional scale returns. Let's look at some of the key figures driving these returns. We saw over $4 billion in spot DEX volumes per day with over $320 billion in Q3 2025 from great partners like Radium, Orca, Meteora, and others supporting real spread capture, arbitrage, and routing revenue. Solana's liquid staking layer surpassed $10.7 billion with teams like Helios, Jito, Marinade, Sanctum, and others offering base yield plus MEV, becoming the risk-free rate on Solana. There are over $1.7 billion in perps open interest with teams like Drift, Zeta, Cypher, and others offering stable funding markets and real basis trades. Perps and funding markets are now core yield engines on Solana. There are over $14 billion in Solana in stablecoin volumes on Solana, with Solstice, USDG, Sky, Cash, Anchorage, and others driving the cost of capital down. Stablecoin yield opportunities offer returns such as structured stable products that combine funding rates, LST backing, and perps hedges to deliver stable target APYs. And lower volatility of stablecoin pools show more predictable returns. RWAs are beginning the next wave of institutional activity on Solana, with over $1 billion in on-chain RWAs across multi-asset class exposure, highlighting recent partnerships with R3, accessing tens of billions in RWA pathways over to Solana. At Solstice, we're doing our part. Since September 30th, we have grown to over $330 million in TVL into a Solana-native stablecoin with one-click access to 15% yields over the last 12 months. This is an example of a composable yield-bearing asset that partners across the DeFi stack, as many companies are today, to enable a full DeFi unlock of returns on Solana. Taking a deeper look at the current return layer available on Solana, native Sol staking yields are at 7.1 to 7.6 APY baseline pre-MEV. LST yields at 8.5 to 10.2% APY, including MEV uplift. And MEV contribution to validator yields now at 120 to 180 bips annually, on top of staking rewards for high-efficiency operators. Next up in this stack is composability, liquidity efficiency, and routing-driven returns. Jupiter routing efficiencies improved LP realized APY by 150 to 300 bips annually from reduced slippage and optimized pathways. Atomic arbitrage opportunities deliver 5 to 20 bips per trade, compounding for bots and vaults into double-digit APYs. Liquidity providers' returns on concentrated AMMs are typically 12 to 30% APY on sol pairs, depending on volatility, points incentives included. Solana block space cost stability offers near zero fees pressure with greater than 95% of strategy gross yield, unlike EVM chains where gas erodes returns materially. Next up in this layer is perps, funding markets, basis trades, and composing the derivatives yield layer. Average funding rates on sol perps oscillates in the positive 8% to negative 6% annualized band, allowing real carry opportunities on both sides. Delta neutral sol basis trades annualize returns of 10 to 18% during stable funding periods with low volatility. Bitcoin and ETH perps on Solana offering 2 to 8% annualized funding capture, cross-venue funding arbitrage, CeFi to Solana, historically yielding 8 to 15% annualized risk managed with hedges. Market maker spreads plus rebate returns offering 20 to 120 bips per day on high volume pairs. Layer 4, as was just discussed, is the stablecoin yield, synthetic dollars, and cash equivalent returns. Stablecoin yields carry offers 7 to 12% APY with hedged with perps short. Unlevered stable vaults offer 5 to 7% APYs, driven by LST backing and liquidity fees. USDC, USDT lending rates on Solana are at 3 to 6% APY stables with Sollend, Camino, and others as key examples due to the reduced borrow friction. And finally, on the top layer, institutional strategy performance, a performance risk managed yield layer. Institutional LST plus hedge strategies produce 8 to 14% APYs with volatility compared to TradFi short duration credit. Composite Solana's return stack portfolio, which is the LST plus MEV plus stable carry plus perps hedge trade, has historically offered 12 to 20% APY with low vol uncorrelated to sol perps. All of the revolutionary teams here today have collectively created the Solana yield superstructure such that institutional capital and retail capital can participate simultaneously. This is battle-tested and actively scaling to billions. We are here today because of Solana, and together these return strategies are hyperscaling at light speed. The call to action is to scale into these new products and services with continued investment and active deployment across the Solana's DeFi stack. And with a little bit of alpha, one of those investments, including Solstice's own presale, announcing on the winter solstice this year in December. Solana is positioned for large-scale net new capital from institutions, funds, retail investors, all experiencing crypto for the first time to deploy into the ecosystem with sticky capital. This is what internet capital markets is built for. The most exciting evolution in finance is not happening on Wall Street. It's happening right here on Solana. Thank you.